back to my channel. I'm so happy that you guys have come back. And if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe because we talk all things fitness, glow up, being healthy, and pretty much living your overall best life. I'm so glad that you guys are here. On this video, I want to talk about a very important topic, honey. How to be healthy and fit on a budget. I feel like it is so important to be healthy and look out for your health. But something that no one really talks about is that it is not cheap, especially because groceries are getting more and more expensive. I feel like prices usually get overlooked, and I am shining a light on that right now because that is a very important factor that needs to be discussed. I have a couple of tips and tricks here that will help to make your health journey a little bit easier so you don't have to break the bank. Okay, first thing that I really want to discuss is that there is different types of fruit and each fruit has its own price section. Okay, so let's go ahead and rank them so you can know what's the least, moderate, and most expensive based off of the quantity and sustenance that you'll be getting. Because some fruit makes you feel fuller quicker and some fruit just comes in more for a cheaper price. So let's go ahead and have the breakdown. First things first, your least expensive, best value for the amount. Fruits are bananas, apples, watermelon, cantaloupe, and honeydew, and oranges. If you literally just get like 5 bananas, that's usually no more than $3. Of course, I'm talking about the US here, so keep that in mind. And of course, it may vary, but normally it's around 70 cents per pound. I think that is the cheapest fruits that you can possibly buy are bananas. And bananas are high in potassium, vitamins, great for smoothies, really healthy, and really helps to make you feel full and has a lot of great sustenance. So I highly recommend that. Apples are also the same way. I highly recommend getting the apples in the bags because those normally tend to be cheaper than just hand picking them and weighing them individually. And then watermelons, especially mini watermelons, they usually are $5 at the supermarket. You can also get some regular sized watermelons and that will last you a while. And that is the same story with the cantaloupe and honeydew. And then as for the oranges are very similar to apples where I highly recommend just buying them in a bag like cuties or mandarins. They are cheaper when you buy them in a bulk bag. Now let's move on to our moderate priced items, which are going to be a little bit more expensive for the quality that you're getting. So that will be grapes, pineapples, pears, and kiwis. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like kiwis are so expensive. Every time I look, it's just like 6 of them and they're like almost $8. That's not the most expensive in the world, but it's also not great if you're on a budget. And also kiwis don't last that long and are not as filling. Grapes as well. Grapes can tend to last a good amount of time. The price is normally based off of weight and it's usually $2 to $3 per pound. So if you weigh the grapes, you'll be able to kind of tell then and there how much it costs. That's kind of a way to determine if you want to purchase them. But if you're looking to be moderate and save in budget, I just would not recommend. And same thing with pineapples and pears. They tend to be a little bit on the pricier side than what I would spend if I were on a budget. Alright, so now let's go to the more expensive, higher cost fruits and vegetables. So keep in mind that these tend to be your berries. They tend to be smaller, more perishable, and more labor intensive to grow. So it usually isn't the cheapest for what you are purchasing and how long it'll last. So blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, mangoes, and avocados tend to be a little bit more pricey. Of course, it depends on what supermarket you're going to or what state you live in. That tends to be the case. In my opinion, avocados, I feel like it can depend because some avocados, they have some that are priced at $3 for $5 at certain supermarkets. So I would look out for those deals and I would compare them in packs as opposed to them individually because unlike apples or oranges, sometimes it's cheaper to get them individually because they have some sort of deal going on. So I would keep an eye out for avocados. But when it comes to berries, those are the most pricey and you really don't get that much. Like blackberries, it's like a small little box. Same thing with blueberries and strawberries. They're very perishable. Like sometimes I would have strawberries for 2-3 days and it already starts to rot. So even if I do keep it in the fridge. So you have to keep these things in mind. You have to think about longevity. How long can these things last? Apples last an eternity, honey. This is a kind of a guide if you ever want to go shopping to think about. I think it'll be very, very helpful for you guys. So you're not really buying more expensive fruit than you have to. Okay, so now the next tip is to get the powder version of different foods if you can or if you want. So for me, I have kind of a video where I showed you guys my turmeric ginger shots. The ginger honestly did not even last that long. Of course, it's an actual ginger root. But the turmeric, I still have it. It is the turmeric powder. If you can get ginger powder, turmeric powder, cinnamon powder, whatever powder you can get, try to get it because it just tends to last way, way longer, especially if it's organic. And for the price that you're paying compared to the longevity is significantly cheaper. I highly recommend that. Alright, so my next tidbit is compare different sections. It's very important to know that when you're shopping, there's different manufacturers of the products. So some tend to list their products higher than others, although it pretty much is the same thing. An example that comes to mind is definitely spinach. The ones that tends to be in like the plastic box normally tends to be more expensive versus just in the bag, and they're both good. And I always get the one that's in the bag because why? You know what I mean? So I would say compare different prices because sometimes it looks expensive, but then another manufacturer or another brand may have it at a significantly cheaper price. I recommend that for apples, for different types of fruit, vegetables, whatever it is, just compare. So don't completely rule out a fruit until you've just kind of looked around. Another huge tip is never buy pre-made food. Like, never buy pre-made pasta. There's some bowls at my local supermarket that has pre-made chicken Alfredo, spaghetti and meatballs, and it's like $14 just for a standard size platter. And honestly, pasta is so affordable. You can literally just buy Alfredo sauce and just make your own. So definitely keep that in mind. Try not to purchase those because those are always overly priced, more so than the value is worth. Same thing with those pre-made salmon bowls or pre-made bowls. They normally are just very, very expensive for no reason. And also for that sushi that they also sell, it's always like at least $10, and it's just like for a couple rolls of sushi. It's not worth the money, especially if A, you can make it yourself, or B, you can take that $10 and invest it somewhere else where you would be able to buy food that will last way, way longer and be way more fulfilling. Do not buy pre-made food, no pastas, no sushi, no bowls, no nothing like that, because that is a big waste of money. Something that I like to purchase is a rotisserie chicken. Honestly, sometimes those are like $5 and it's already pre-cooked. I would take that chicken, I would roll it up in a tortilla, I would do a little taco. You can do so many different things with that chicken. You can chop it up and then put it on some pasta and put it on some Alfredo. You can do a lot with it, especially since it's already cooked. If you want, you can peel off the skin and then add your own seasoning or your own sauce, whatever you want. You can really customize that rotisserie chicken, and it's a full chicken and it does last a minute. So keep in mind that normally the skin on those chickens tends to be like very, very highly over seasoned, but normally if you just take the skin off, it honestly should be fine, and I highly recommend that. I used to do that a lot. I still do. You'll be so amazed at different meals that you can create. If you haven't tried it, give it a try and let me know what you guys think. Another thing that I highly recommend is keep in mind that you want your protein to be your side choice. So what I'm talking about is a burger versus pasta and chicken. So a burger, the meat is the main meal. You can't really have a burger without meat. You know what I mean? I would try to go more towards rice and chicken or pasta and chicken, because while you're eating the chicken, you're also having some pasta, or you also have a little bit of rice, brown rice, whatever you want. And then you can top some veggies on there. So you're really making sure that you get your sustenance, you get full, not just from the protein, but also from the side dish or whatever it may be. And I feel like that helps a lot to make sure that it's not too expensive, and that if you do have chicken or if you do have whatever meat or protein, seafood, whatever it may be, that it can last a long amount of time. Okay, so my next tip is don't buy a juicer. I bought a juicer before and I was shocked by how much of the actual fruit is not used and how little juice that I actually did get. I do not recommend buying a juicer if you are trying to budget and not trying to spend so much money, because juicers can be pretty pricey. They are a lot of maintenance, and also it's just honestly not necessary. If you have a blender, which you can probably get from Amazon, or there's the blender in Walmart that's like $15. If you could just get that and then just buy like a $1 strainer, that will be pretty much, in my opinion, superior to a juicer because you get more out of it. That's how I create my juices, is I just use a strainer. So connecting to my last point, I think that you should definitely compare different places for different appliances, because you never know. Because I feel like Walmart definitely has some cheap appliances, and I'm specifically referring to blenders, but also Amazon might as well. And also think strategically. Think during holidays or maybe Black Friday, where there might be a little bit of a discount. That's when you should be buying your appliances, because you can get it at a cheaper price. That will definitely help you to save money and get the cheapest option. All right, and another thing that I recommend is try a different supermarket. So try and like look around at different supermarkets. Some things might be cheaper here or there. And honestly, sometimes I feel like the Spanish supermarkets or the Spanish markets tend to be a little bit cheaper. So give that a try, like your local ranchero market. Definitely give that a try and see if it's cheaper. I know personally that my local Spanish market is significantly cheaper than my standard American supermarket, and I feel like I wouldn't have known had I not visited and seen the different prices, and it's mind-blowing the differences. So I highly recommend that, and that will hopefully set you up on your health journey and make it so much better for you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I honestly enjoyed making this video because I use these tips and tricks on myself. So I want to give you guys value and have you guys be able to enter your That Girl Healthy era and be able to actually afford to be healthy. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Definitely subscribe if you want more tips like these, and I'd be more than happy to make them for you guys. So let me know which tip you guys preferred the most, and I'll see you guys on the next video.